Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to my channel. There has been a lot of requests to make a video on all the enchantments. Therefore,
your wish has been granted.
Even though a lot of us have been playing this game for a while, there's a lot of enchantments that we don't know what they look like or care for, as we don't use them. However, today I'm going to cover every single one of them. This video should be very helpful to the new people who are just starting Neverwinter. I will not cover the price on the auction house, as that could change down the road. However, you're more than welcome to search it on your platform. Keep in mind, some of these enchantments are very pricey. The first one on the list is going to be Transcendent Fey Touch Enchantment. The influence of the Fey has wrapped your weapon, causing to twist and bend your foes, empowering you. You deal an additional 22% of your weapon damage as physical damage. Also, your encounter power siphons away 18% of your target's damage. This damage is converted into 18% more damage for you. This effect is a 3-target AoE, lasts for 20 seconds, may only happen once every 20 seconds. Let's do a quick recap. The main focus on this enchantment, you will take away 18% of your target's damage with your encounter, and that converts into 18% more damage for you. That's where this weapon enchantment shines. Now there's a lot of different damages out there, like weapon damage, physical damage, fire damage, lightning enchantment damage. All of those are related to the damage that the weapon enchantment will cause. When there's only damage associated on the verbiage, that is just damage overall. It's the same damage you will get from your feats. Plus, in addition to that, taking away 18% of the damage from the enemy, that's huge. This is the reason why this enchantment to this day is used in PvP mostly. Another major factor, it may say it has 20-second cooldown, but it lasts for 20 seconds. And then you can reactivate it by using another encounter. So technically speaking, this enchantment doesn't have a cooldown. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what it looks like on the weapon. As you notice, it has a pinkish glow to it, and you can see the particles flying around it. This was my favorite enchantment, and it still is to this day, from visual effects and the damage that it does. I will definitely continue using this enchantment for the PvP. However, there's another enchantment that replaces this one as far as the visual effects. So stay tuned, because I will be talking about that enchantment here in just a moment. Let me show you quick what it looks like in combat. Absolutely stunning. There's another enchantment that wins the competition as far as the visual effects are concerned. And that would be the Transcendent Lightning Enchantment, which is also amazing for PvE as well. Your weapon crackles with power and will shock your foes. You deal an additional 57% of weapon damage as lightning damage with your powers. This damage chains up to 3 times at 100% chance for each chain. If there are no chains, you deal 33% more damage to that target. Let's do a quick recap. The main focus of the lightning enchantment is that you will deal damage to multiple targets, and if there is no multiple targets, then you focus all your damage on a single target. Additionally, all cooldowns are reduced by 2% for the first lightning strike, plus additionally 1% for each chain. Also, what I have noticed is that this enchantment seems to be increasing your critical chance as you do damage to multiple targets, which makes this enchantment ideal for PvE. Now that we have covered the lightning enchantment, let's take a look at the visual effects and see what it could do. First thing we're going to do is remove the Transcendent Fey Touch enchantment, and then we'll go ahead and insert the Transcendent Lightning enchantment. The Transcendent Lightning enchantment has a blue look to it. The lightning particles are wrapped in the weapon, which makes it glow, and it looks pretty awesome. This one wins the competition as far as the visual effects are concerned. Every time you swing your sword, you leave a trail behind of electricity. And you can also hear the sound crackling as well. Let me know in the comments below, which weapon enchantment do you like the most, as far as the visual effects. Also let me know which one you think is the best when it comes to performance. On this particular fight, you can see the lightning chain effect. I would like you to see the visual effects in the dark. It looks even more stunning, as you can see all the details. The next enchantment has a darker theme to it, and it's quite rare, as you can only get it from a lockbox. You guessed it, we're talking about the Transcendent Dread enchantment. Your encounter powers strike despair into the hearts of foes with great force, dealing an additional 75% critical severity. Your attacks cause dread in your target for 4 seconds, dealing an additional 50% of weapon damage as neurotic damage every second and reducing their defense by 40%. for players, and increasing their damage taken by 4% for monsters. Additionally, your critical strike now reduces your target's damage resistance by 4% for 4 seconds, and this effect can trigger every 5 seconds. Quick recap, the main focus of this weapon enchantment is that it only works on your encounters. It does more damage than the Vorpal, which we will talk about it down the line. The only difference is, Vorpal works all around as a 50% critical severity, with this one is 75% critical severity, and it also has other effects such as dealing an additional 50% of your weapon damage as neurotic damage. Also another factor is that it reduces your defense by 40%, which is pretty large. This effect can trigger every 5 seconds, however it lasts for 4 seconds, so technically you have 1 second delay. Let's go ahead and remove the lightning enchantment, so that way we can put the Transcendent dread enchantment in place. And we'll take a look and see what the visual effects look like on a Transcendent enchantment. In addition to that, see what it can do as well. This enchantment makes your weapon dark purple or black. As you swing your weapon, you will notice that there's little bubbles will be floating around you and around your weapon as well. This enchantment is great if you do a lot of crits with your character and you depend on your encounters instead of your at will. As a GWF, you can certainly strike really hard with your encounters if you do crit on them. So if you have a really high crit, give this enchantment a try and you shall have a lot of fun with it. This is great for you if you're into a darker theme, but it's not about the looks, it's about what it can do. This enchantment is ideal for PvE and for PvP. I'm gonna take a quick break, so don't go anywhere, because when I come back, you're gonna see my next favorite weapon enchantment on my list, and it's pretty epic. Welcome back. Let's take a look at the next weapon enchantment. We're talking about the Transcendent Frost enchantment. The visual effects on this one are pretty epic, and we will talk about that here in a little bit. Your weapon swirls with frosty air, chilling your foes to the bone. You deal an additional 36% of weapon damage as cold damage with your powers. In addition, you apply a 30% slow, 25% recharge speed reduction, 10% damage resistance reduction, also 10% damage dealt reduction to your target for 10 seconds. Non-player targets are also disabled for 4 seconds. This effect may occur no more than once every 20 seconds. So this is why the reason this is great for PvE and not for PvP, because it's only 4 seconds and then you have 16 seconds remaining as a delay. In PvP, sometimes a second can make a difference, let alone having to wait for 16 seconds for this to reset. Let's do a quick recap. The main focus of this weapon enchantment is that you do 36% weapon damage as cold damage with your powers. Plus, in addition to that, you're slowing them down by 30% and reducing their recharge speed by 25%. Along with that, taking away 10% of their damage resistance or damage they deal to you. The only downside about this enchantment is that it takes 20 seconds to recharge. Let's take a look and see what it looks like in our weapon. If you enjoyed this video so far, make sure you smash the like button. Also subscribe, so that way you stay notified when I do release more videos on the future. Be the first one to view my content, and become a true fan of Mini-Me. But this enchantment has a white and blue look to it. As you notice, it does have all the frostiness looking to the top, all the way to the bottom. Let's take a look and see what it looks like. So here you can notice that every time I use my daggers, the enemy is frozen and it's slowed down. Pretty awesome. This weapon enchantment has to be the second one on my list as far as the visual effects go. And it also seems to be performing pretty well. I'm surprised. When swinging your sword in any direction, you will leave a trail of ice flakes, and it looks pretty stunning, very pleasing to the eye. It almost feels like you can swing your sword all day long, just so you can see the visual effects. Now this looks also pretty epic on any other character as well. The only reason why I've chosen to play with the GWF is because the sword is super huge, and you can see the effects a lot better. The next weapon enchantment is the third one on the list of my favorites as far as the visual effects are concerned. So stay tuned, because together we shall find out. And of course, we have here the Transcendent Flaming enchantment. Now this one looks absolutely epic. The question is, does it perform? Your weapon is coated in rolling flames, searing foes with his very touch. You deal an additional 38% of weapon damage as fire damage with your powers. Additionally, you burn your foes for 25% of your weapon damage as fire damage every 1 second for 3 seconds. This effect stacks up to 3 times, and each stack increases all damage you deal to the target by 1%. And when you deal damage to a target with 3 stacks, that target emits 181% of your weapon damage. This AoE attack cannot happen more than once every 20 seconds. So there again, we have a 20-second cooldown on the AoE damage. Let's take a look and see what our visual effects look like. As you noticed, the entire weapon is covered in flames and is glowing red hot, and it looks pretty awesome. As you swing your weapon, it does leave a trail of fire behind. I hope you found this video very informative and you've been enjoying it, because I was enjoying making it. All the games look much cooler when they have particle effects in it. Let me show you in the dark, it looks even more alive, as you can see all the little details and the sword glowing hot red. The next weapon enchantment we're going to talk about is very similar to the one you just saw, except instead of glowing hot red, this is going to be glowing blue. We are talking about the Transcendent Plague Fire enchantment. Your weapon is coated in rolling blue flames, searing your enemies with his very touch and driving foes to fits of fear. Your powers deal an additional 27% of weapon damage as fire damage. In addition, your foe burns for 11% weapon damage every second, and it's affected by 3% damage resistance reduction and 2% damage dealt reduction. This effect lasts for 3 seconds and stacks up to 3 times. If the target is affected by 3 stacks, your power causes the target to explode, dealing 136% weapon damage to a nearby foe. This effect may occur no more than once every 20 seconds. Let's do a quick recap. This weapon enchantment is very similar to the flame weapon enchantment. In addition to that, you have 20-second cooldown. The main focus of this enchantment, I guess, is that you're able to explode your target, dealing 136% weapon damage to a foe nearby, which I'm anxious to see if that's really gonna happen. I would love to explode some targets. Let's go ahead and equip it to our weapon, so we can see the visual effects this enchantment has to offer. There's a bunch of ideas that I've had for quite some time, so I'll be making a bunch of videos for the next couple of days. Make sure you subscribe below, so that way you stay notified on my future content once I do release them. The Transcendent Plague Fire enchantment has a blue look to it. The visual effects on this weapon look stunning. As you swing your sword in any direction, a blue trail of flames will follow your weapon. Which one do you think is your favorite weapon enchantment? Let's go ahead and take a look and see what it looks like in the dark. I'm curious to see if this weapon enchantment will explode the target. Looks like it did. Up next, we're going to be talking about the legendary Vorpal. This weapon enchantment has existed before time itself. I remember playing Neverwinter way back in the day. Everyone would have this weapon enchantment equipped to their weapon. This weapon enchantment is still good to this day. If you find yourself doing a lot of crits, this is the weapon enchantment for you. You strike with an additional 50% critical severity. Critical severity increases the damage your critical strike deal. Your critical strike now reduces your target damage resistance and damage by 2%. Let's do a quick recap. This weapon enchantment is very easy to understand. Not too much stuff is going on. The main focus of this weapon enchantment is for you to deal more damage on your crit strike. It's very similar to the Dread enchantment. The only difference is Vorpal increases the damage on your crit on everything you do, whether it's your encounter, your will, or your dailies, where the Dread enchantment is more focused on only your encounters. Another major factor, this weapon enchantment doesn't have any cooldowns. This is the fourth on my list as far as the visual effects are concerned. The visual effects may look amazing on this weapon enchantment, however at times it can be very unpleasing to the eye, as it looks like a strobe light, and can potentially hurt your eyes at times. But it looks amazing. You almost get the Matrix effect. As you swing your weapon in any direction, your weapon will leave a trail, and it will clone itself, and it makes it look like a glass effect. I remember back in the day when I would play with GWFs and their sword be always flashing. It was so intriguing and very epic to look at it. I always thought those people were very good at the game because I was still new, so I didn't know what was going on. and here I am today making a review on all the weapon enchantments. Let's take a look and see what it looks like in combat. This particular monster puts his hand into where his head should belong, and pulls out a ball of flame with fire, and tosses it to the ground. Let's go ahead and finish him. Smash! Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Next we're going to talk about the Transcendent Terror enchantment. You deal an additional 64% of weapon damage as neurotic damage with your powers. In addition, your target takes 6% more damage and deals 8% less damage to you. When you strike a foe, you have a 10% chance to root the target for 3 seconds. This effect may occur no more than every 30 seconds. Let's do a quick recap. The main focus of this weapon enchantment is that you will do 6% more damage and they will deal 8% less damage to you. Plus, in addition to that, you have 10% chance to root your target, and that could last up to 3 seconds. The rooting your target comes in very handy for PvE or for PvP. The only downside about this weapon enchantment is that it has a 30-second cooldown. This weapon enchantment would be ideal for PvE or for PvP. Let's go ahead and take a look and see what the visual effects look like. As you can see, this weapon enchantment makes your sword or any other weapon pitch black, and then you have the blue flames wrapping around your sword. The particle effect on this enchantment are limited. It doesn't really leave a trail behind it, as the other weapon enchantment that we saw previously before. Let's take a look and see what it looks like in combat. Smash! I'm gonna try to burn through these next ones rather quick because I'm running out of time. This is the Transcendent Life Trickery enchantment. You deal an additional 43% of your weapon damage as neurotic damage, the same one as the previous enchantment, just slightly less. To make up for the less, you also increase your lifesteal chance by 10% and your lifesteal severity by 20%. Quick recap. The main focus of this weapon enchantment, not only do you deal damage, but you also get a 10% increase on your lifesteal for 5 seconds whenever you activate a power. And 10% lifesteal can come very handy in PvE. In addition to the other lifesteal that you may have from your boons and feats, it can add up pretty quick, and every time you do damage to monsters, you are healed constantly. Let's take a look and see what the visual effects look like on this weapon enchantment. As you can see there, it does have a kind of red look to it, and it leaves a trail of blood behind. But then again, this weapon enchantment is called the Life Drinker. It has a pretty awesome effect when you fight monsters, which we will check up next. As you deal damage, you will see the blood being sucked right out of your enemy. Smash! The next weapon enchantment on the list is going to be the Transcendent Battlethorn enchantment. This one, you deal an additional 33% of your weapon damage as poison damage with your powers. Your foe triggers an additional 50% of weapon damage as poison damage to nearby foes after 4 seconds. Your primary target is slowed, stacking up to 3 times. Let's do a quick recap. The main focus of this weapon enchantment is that you will deal poison damage, and then the target that's affected will deal an additional 54% of weapon damage as poison damage to a nearby foe after 4 seconds. So this weapon enchantment would be ideal for the PvE section. Another factor, it doesn't have a cooldown. Let's take a look and see what the visual effects look like. This is the 5th one on my list as far as the visual effects are concerned. It looks pretty epic. You will leave a trail of poison behind your sword as you swing from left to right, or whatever weapon that you may be using on your character. It also makes a hiss sound, kind of like a snake, I guess because it's related to poison. It looks even more stunning in the dark. The performance of this weapon is also pretty good for the PvE. I would not recommend it for the PvP section, as there is so much Insignia bonus happening. The poison damage will only help the enemy heal. The next weapon enchantment we're going to talk about is rather new. It's the Transcendent Holy Avenger, which is quite expensive. This weapon enchantment, you deal an additional 65% of weapon damage as radiant damage with your powers. You also have a 20% chance on each swing to improve your allies' damage resistance by 20% while healing them. For an amount scaled to your weapon for 15 seconds. Any below you land during this time will do an additional 22% of weapon damage as radiant damage. This effect can only activate every 45 seconds. Let's do a quick recap. The focus of this weapon enchantment, not only will you deal damage, but you're also healing your allies and giving them 20% damage resistance. Another factor, it may activate every 45 seconds, however it does last for 15 seconds. So there's a 30-second delay. Let's take a look and see what the visual effects look like. I appreciate you for sticking by. We're almost coming to an end. We only have one more to review after this one. The Transcendent weapon enchantment has a yellow gold look to it. It is very bright. It looks pretty epic, but at times it can be very unpleasing to the eyes. This is on the same category as the Vorpal. I find myself getting a headache if I choose to play with this weapon enchantment or the Vorpal. But then again, this game is a strobe light itself, especially if you're fighting on a dungeon. Let this enchantment light up your darkness, as it looks like a beacon of light. Let's take a look and see what it looks like in combat. I suppose it won't look as bright on a different character with a smaller weapon. The next weapon enchantment we're going to talk about is on my favorite list as well, and it's pretty epic, so don't go anywhere. This is the end of all the enchantments review. What a better way to finish it than with butterflies. This is the Transcendent Bronzewood enchantment. Targets struck by your encounter powers become marked. While marked, you at will and encounter powers do 16% more damage to the target. You and your allies also do 5% more damage, and the targets that are marked also do 10% less damage to you. The duration of the mark is 10 seconds and it has a 20-second cooldown. Let's do a quick recap. The focus of this weapon enchantment is that you're able to mark your target. Same mechanics as a GF or a GWF. With a GF, you're able to mark your target twice. I wonder if this weapon enchantment allows you to mark the target for the third time, which will deal even more damage. Maybe I will give this weapon enchantment a try in PvP and see if it works. Another factor, it says it has a 20-second cooldown, however the mark lasts for 10 seconds, so there's a 10-second delay. Now's the time to take a look at the visual effects. And let me tell you, this looks pretty epic, guys. As you noticed, your weapon is surrounded by leaves and butterflies. This weapon enchantment also wraps your weapon with roots. It looks pretty epic. And the visual effects and the particle effects even look more stunning. As you walk around, you will see these leaves and butterflies literally flying on your screen. It gets even better as you swing your sword, and you leave a trail of leaves and butterflies behind. Kitten's poop, if you're watching this video, this weapon enchantment is for you. This is my next favorite weapon enchantment, as it will make my GF look super tough and do heavy damage. At the same time, look super pretty while I'm smashing my haters. Oh, I'm gonna enjoy this. I wanna look pretty while I'm smashing all the haters. All the butterflies surrounding me. This is awesome. Let's take a look and see if we can quad mark it, guys. We're gonna quad. It sounds dirty. Quad. Look at that. 3 marks, and then also the weapon enchantment mark as well. Hulk smash. Get some butterflies. I will give you some old butter with flies in it. We'll call it the butterfly effect. Thank you for watching Mini-Me, guys. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave the thumbs up, like button, and also make sure to subscribe below so that way you can catch my future content. That's all for now. Everybody have a nice day. Peace out. I'm actually using my hand right now. I'm doing like the Hitler sign. It's kind of weird shit. I'm glad that the camera is not facing me. Peace. Grandma!
What the hell do you want?
I'm finally done with the video.
I don't have my hearing aid on.
It's been a while since I heard from you.
Oh, bullshit.
Come on, Grandma, stop using foul language. They think that you're a movie star.